Hey everybody, it's Nancy Rathbun here for Completely Quilted, and I'm demonstrating month 6 from the Cabin by the Lake pattern. And so like all of our other months, we've got our labels on our fabrics, and you're going to get your paper copy of the pattern. So I've already cut out all of my rectangles and squares for this month. And for month 6, you're going to have 2 different styles of trees. This one that I have laid out here is the 10.5-inch size trees. So with this technique, we're still going to do half square triangles, but we're also going to do half square rectangles, which is kind of a different type of making half square triangle look. So I'm going to show you, this is what this 10-inch tree looks like when you get it finished. The bottom part of the tree is sort of shaded, so it's a little darker background, but the lighter background is the same. And I actually sewed this one together wrong, so I'm going to have to undo my rows because my top 2 colors and my bottom 2 colors are the same, and I think I really would like to mix that up and have 4 different greens in this block and 4 different greens in my other one. But I've got this sewn together to show you, and then I'll have one of my elves unsew this for me and we'll resew it back together. So I'm going to show you how to make this half square triangle, like long half square rectangle off of the tree point. So I already have laid out all of the rectangles that are going to get sewn together. Now this bottom strip is just my trunk with the darker background sewn on each side. So I'm going to take off my labels, so I don't want to sew over those stickers now that I know where they go. But the pattern has you take each rectangle and place it right sides together with this long part coming down. Alright? And then they have you draw a line from corner to corner. But because this is not a square, at what point do you choose where that is going to get drawn? And I've got this great tool. It's called the Perfect Corner Ruler. Perfect Corner Ruler. And you can see in this little picture, there's all kinds of different things you can use it for, but it's basically for making great half square triangles. And so one of my favorite things about this ruler is all of the different lines and sizes that I have marked on the side. So what I'm going to be looking at is the 2.5-inch line, which is right here, because all of these pieces were cut 2.5 inches. So I'm going to kind of position this so you can see it a little bit better. But I'm going to position the 2.5-inch line right here at the top. And what that does is my 2.5-inch line is right here on the edge. Where's my gel pen? Of where I have my fabric lined up. So the top edge and then the side. And that way I can mark a line perfectly from point to point, even though it's a rectangle and not a square. So I used that to mark my line, and now I'll sew right on that line, just like I make half square triangles. So I've sewn right on that line, and I'm going to trim the excess fabric away with about 1/4 inch seam allowance. So when I open this up, I have that perfect row without any excess fabric hanging off, and I'm going to press that to my dark. Just like that. So I'm going to place this back down on my mat where I've got everything lined up. And when I go to sew my next rectangle, I do the same thing. I'm going to position that right sides together on the top and side. I'm going to grab my ruler. This time I flip it over because I want that angle to be going opposite of the one it was going before. Move this. 2.5-inch line on the side of my strip, and I can mark a point from corner to corner, just like that. And now I'm going to sew right on this other line. And I'm going to cut away all of the excess again. And I'm still going to press this to the dark. And so what that gives me is my section where I have 1/4 of an inch on the top point here for my seam allowance, and everything is nice and flat in one long strip. So I'm just going to keep building that, coming down, still bringing over each side and using my perfect corner ruler to make those marks for me until I have this awesome 10.5 inch block. So the other blocks that you're going to make this month, like magic here, are the larger 12.5 inch trees. And this month, when you make these trees here, you're going to use the exact same techniques that we have before to make these half square triangles. So this is not a new technique for making half square triangles, but I thought I would lay this block out so you can see that how it's formed together. So where we have these half square triangles, and it shows you in your pattern how to lay this out for stitching it. So I'm going to sew these into rows first. And also these rows together and these rows, and then make those 4 patches, and then sew this into a row, and same with the bottom. So you want to make sure that when you're making these blocks, you're going to use the same background, all right, for the entire block. So that won't be scrappy. This whole block has the same background color. So that's the fun trees that you have in month 6. It's kind of an easy month after doing all of our paper piecing. So I hope you're enjoying the Cabin by the Lake block of the month.